Zach, actually, maybe Ruth can give us an orientation, but I wanted to say to Zach, it was ironic to me that yesterday you made the comment about class size, because I don't think I've ever seen a mega class run more effectively than, I think this was 2017 or 2018.
2015.
It was 2015. It was maybe the first week of February of 2015. The class you ran was amazing, because I don't know what processing the students were doing, but they were all engaged to the best of what I could see. And then, yes, it was 2015. I used those same lessons for the next 3 years in Namibia, and they worked quite well.
Wow.
Ruth, can you give us a little orientation on what you hope we will accomplish?
Go to do you have the link to the Excel file? It's more looking through the things that we discussed, like each group, and then picking one thing, and then making sure that you refine that idea, looking for solutions, tentative solutions. So what works with this idea, what can be improved on that particular idea, and then some goals on how we could, maybe some funding goals, like, okay, what do we need to make sure that we get to where we want to be?
Okay, and I certainly have the list up.
Okay, good, thank you.
Or the spreadsheet.
I wonder if everybody, and you're group 3, right?
Well, there are 4 of us, but you made it 5, and hopefully you'll stay, and we'll have a perfect group then.
I want to jump into the other groups and record, because for some reason
sure.
I did not record.
Don't worry about us. Don't worry about us.
Dr. Dees, oh my goodness, you're killing me here. You can manage on your own. I know you are all very capable.
With you, we are better.
Oh, okay, I'll be back.
Are you typing within the cell or at the very top?
Oh, let's see. That was, so let me, yeah, let me go to the very top and see.
Yeah, and it'll populate once you do it. It
Okay,
looks like the other way, the connectivity wasn't there for some reason.
Yeah, so equipment, and we're thinking of internet, facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, so internet facilities. We also think of laptops. We think of maybe iPads.
Chromebooks.
Yeah. Any other ideas? So we can list those under equipment. Any things that we can list under equipment?
Caterers? Is that what we're saying? Yeah? Okay. Is there, and then ideas is to maybe,
I think identity of teachers is an idea.
Okay.
Like,
oh, shoot, no.
Identity of teachers is, oops. I think the idea of identity of teachers, who they are, how they see themselves as teachers, is something that does affect the quality of instruction, quality of teaching.
Okay. How they see themselves? Did you say that?
Identity. I think just put identity of teachers.
Okay.
It's a very big thing.
Okay.
I don't want to start, yeah. Identity of teachers, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their use of technology, teachers' use of technology.
I think of the continuing training teaching on technology.
Problems in classrooms. Some challenges that pupils may have as we are dealing with teaching online nowadays in our countries. In our country,
apart from Zoom, we also need the telephones on thousands of so languages. They are very, it is a very big need in our schools. Telephones for children to come. We are in a country where there are no telephone labs, so they are less than children. Okay, we need them to communicate and follow some courses on their telephones, through WhatsApp and other links. Apart that, yeah, equipment, it is the desk in the rooms.
Kasere, Kasareke,
Desk.
okay, yes, okay.
Who is talking? Can they speak louder? Can they come to the phone and talk? We cannot hear them. They can come and talk.
Okay, I speak loudly now. Okay, I say that.
But it's someone else who's speaking.
Who is speaking?
On quality teaching, about the lack of qualified teachers.
Is
That's why we need a lot of training.
Can they?
Yes, I say that we've got many challenges in our country. Pupils, the students need the computers. They need good rooms. The rooms need to be large so that they may learn very well. They need telephones, and even the parents need the telephones also to help their students to work on WhatsApp, because this teaching may be with in WhatsApp groups, for example. But in our country, many parents are not informed about the mark of Android. They are not aware of them. That's why we say that parents need more training. Parents must be trained. Teachers must be also trained, and the students must be trained. After this training, we also need materials which can support them to acquire notions, to understand what they are taught, to practice lessons, because these lessons are taught through, for example, in our country nowadays, we make some assignments that we give to students, and those students work on them at home on those assignments. They hand back sheets of papers, we correct them, and back resulted to the students. Then in this period of COVID, it has been a problem because it can transmit immediately this disease. That's why we need to learn online. And to learn online needs many things. As we said it earlier, we need computers, we need energy, electricity, we need telephones, we need large rooms, and we need also money to pay those teachers who are training our students. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know where your conversation was going. So how are you guys approaching this?
We're identifying issues and solutions, and Naya's been recording in different columns in our spreadsheet.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Nai.
No problem.
There's a lot of
Maybe
issues. Yeah, go ahead, Zach. Please go ahead.
just an addition on what my friend from DRC has said on the issue of assessments. So another issue is how do we use assessments to improve the quality of learning for learners? How do we use that data to check that the kids are learning and then adapt the teaching and the learning resources where necessary to help them?
Say one way to help assess is to develop materials that include embedded assessment, where the assessment is built into whatever the challenge is or built into whatever artifact is being created. That's not an answer for across the board, but it makes life a whole lot easier for both the teachers and the students if learning assessment is embedded in the activity. But I just wrote that into the spreadsheet and then it disappeared. I don't know what happened. I'll just type it again.
I was just looking at the spreadsheet. So I think we have about 5 more minutes. So did we identify like just one thing that we could work on? Because from what Kasareka was saying, there's so much that there's so much need. But is there one need that could be the one that Group 3 works on?
We haven't isolated. And I'm adding how to individualize in large classrooms. And for Costa Rica and a little bit for Nye, one thing that Zach and I have been doing over the years is we think that the more learners or youngsters get into the habit of creating their own content, the more we address the issues of materials and of language and of engagement and of assessment, because students are always assessing, they're self-assessing what they're doing. And when they share, others are assessing. So we've been able to get a lot of funding for that, but not scale up kind of system funding. And we also haven't proven that the model works. Zach, I thought that students would be able to make videos a lot faster than we do in real life, and a lot faster than I do, and be able to cover a full curriculum more readily. That was a real unrealistic idea back in when we first started getting funding for some of these projects. So now we're excited when students create things, and they do make good videos, but they aren't at a production level that can be used widespread across the school, for example.
Is that what the goal of the Namibia team is? To do stuff that will be widespread? Is that where it's going?
Well, the idea with Namibia was just that, to get teachers and then learners to co-create videos. But it was, in reality, what we got them to do was create videos that were good for them because they learned a lot in making the videos, but they weren't good enough to use in schools for other people. So, you know, you work on a professional entertainment set. I can make a TikTok or a home video that shows a story, and you can go on to Grey's Anatomy set and see how a professional is done. We've always argued that we don't need to be professional, that we're in the shadow of Hollywood and we don't need to be as good as Hollywood. We just need to be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out that the videos that our teachers and students make are good enough to learn a lot for the people who make the videos, but they're not good enough to teach others. So somewhere between making a home TikTok or home story video and what you do on Grey's Anatomy, we think that there's a threshold there, but we don't reach it.
Do you think funding could solve that though? Like, I almost feel like funding could solve that if you had, instead of maybe just have a room somewhere that is already nicely equipped and a well-trained teacher on the subject matter. I think they could come up with something that is decent if the environment was right, the sound was right, and the quality of the information was right, which comes back to funding a space that produces this, that these students could go into and produce, like a library, but a library for producing a mini studio just for producing content for students who want to produce content.
That might be possible, but you also have to have time.
Right.
So the students and the teachers have to have time. And we have places where there are, you know, at the New York Hall of Science, they have a nice studio, but it's difficult for them to get time there.
Maybe that's the way of the future. Instead of libraries, libraries will be online and the libraries will become the little studios.
Well, YouTube is a big library for learning, and it might be that instead of having individual projects create videos, that you curate the mass of videos that are found on YouTube for any given subject.
Right. Sure.
But I think you're going to pull us back into the other room.
In about 2 minutes. So I'm not sure whether your conversation, you felt that it was productive or not. Zach, anything else? The amazing work, you're doing such amazing work over there in Kenya. I'm like, I wish I had a Zach in Cameroon.
You do, you just have to find them.
It's so hard. I'm like, where are the Zachs of the world? We send one Zach in Cameroon, one Zach in Gabon, in Congo. Oh, and they just put them across Africa. We need Zachs.
Yeah, Ruth, it's a question of scalability, and I think those people do exist even in Cameroon. I think what we probably need is community engagement, even in like student learning. In IC4, like we cannot like overemphasize the importance of community engagement even amongst the students themselves. and how do they support one another in those settings, so that they can learn together, they can work together. And if those group of students who are directly in that community are likely to be the only ones with the ability to directly impact on other kids. So so the quality of learning within that cohort of community also depends on who is within that community and what are they contributing to one another.
I guess we have a lot more to talk about. Thank you. Nai, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Were you able to capture any of these and jot down some
Yes,
notes?
I'm capturing some notes. I don't think that we still drilled down on our problem though.
Too many problems is the problem. Okay,
Well,
what would you say, Zach, was the main problem? Dr. D, did you have something?
There's Ruth.
John, you made it!
Though late, I'm being told you're finishing.
John, you're late, but we're happy you're here.
I'm
John
sorry
and
for
Edward
that.
joined us.
Hi,
I thought we
John.
were starting. Hello, how are you, Mary? Nice to see
Fine,
you.
thank you.
As far as I'm concerned, I was told 5:30 Kenyan time. That's what Ogwell told me.
No!
Sorry.
John, is this your
really
first? John, have you been to these meetings before?
Sorry, Mary. Zach.
Hi, John.
Hi, John.
You don't need to say hello to me, John.
Hi, Prof. Nice to see you.
Hello, Leash.
Thank you.
John wrote in like a Hollywood star. Yeah, I am. Next time I'm calling you up right when the meeting starts.
Please call me. Professor Eric.
Hello, John.
Greetings from Liege, the small Liege.
Just as long as the greetings come from the big Leash.
Thank you. Thanks.
So we apologize that John and Edward are coming in a little late, but in these last 5 minutes, we hope that you had a good conversation as a group and see that some ideas have taken place. So we are just going to ask each group to share the problem and one idea that they have. Again, at the end of this, what we will do, we hope this has catalyzed your thinking. Ruth and I are going to take this and summarize and maybe talk with Dr. Tai about what some next steps could be. But we do want this to be practical and meaningful for you. And our hope is that Ruth and I are committed to brainstorming what a next step could be for some of these ideas. And we will definitely communicate in a transparent way with all of you through the Facebook group and through just email. So would someone like to share from group one, again, what your problem is and one idea?
Yeah, for group one, I'll talk on behalf of the group. We're basically concerned about how to, about infrastructure and equipment. And we then identified a number of things. For the infrastructure, we talked about the construction of classrooms. This is something we raised. And about equipment, we talked about internet facilities, laptops, iPads, telephones, decks, internal communication facilities, visual aids, solar energy installations. There was a long list of things we listed. And then the issue was, how do we get these things? If, for example, a school is in need of all these things, what do they do? And the idea was to identify potential funders. It could be corporations, individuals, and it's basically, first of all, looking online for who is willing and who has been funding, who is interested in funding education. Then look at their protocols, look at their overall instructions, their deadlines, and then prepare a proposal to submit to them. And Dr. Tai also mentioned how proposals what could be included in proposals so that this might be funded. And basically it was always trying to say who your partners are, the teachers involved, parents associations, because funders need to be convinced that they are not giving their money to the wrong person. Yeah, so these are some of the things we discussed in that group. We thought to bring them back. We don't know if they meet the expectations, but these are the things we talked about. Thank you.
I think Jen is having sound problems. So you're mute, Jen, if you want to say something, you're mute.
Sorry, I was wondering if anyone had any questions on this, or then we want to hear from group 2 and group 3. Also, if you do have ideas after this conversation, the spreadsheet is still there. So please go ahead and add to the spreadsheet. Maybe throughout the day, you will suddenly get an idea that you want to add. So please continue to use this spreadsheet. Okay. Group 2.
Mary, do you want to do the summary for us, or?
Okay. Let me just already what we have. We were looking at the problem we want to solve is the quality of teaching, generally the competence of educators, and one thing that we really wanted, this was a lot to really try and discuss in that short time. I'm glad you said, Jennifer, that we can go back to this sheet and add a few more things later. But I just want to talk about what is highlighted, training in new methodologies in blended learning. And there was a suggestion, what works with this from Archimedes, I hope I'm saying that right, on the use of the IP camera, which is being used in Brazil, and how that can be used to support blended learning, where students, to support learning for both students that are able to make it to school on site and those that for some reason are not able to make it to school. And the contribution that this would make would be on training of teachers on these kinds of methodologies and use of technology to solve the problem of access for large classrooms. To solve the problem of access for large classrooms. I think one of the things that had been stated as a problem was the issue of large classes. And so this would make a meaningful contribution toward that area. Yeah. we decided to just highlight that one because we did not have time to really get deeply into the other 4 points, 4 ideas that we raised. And the other 4 ideas were research on the identity of teachers and how students and teachers see them. That is an idea. Teachers' use of technology, and of course the competency-based curriculum that is being implemented in Rwanda and Kenya and the challenges related to that.
Wonderful, thank you. Group 3. There's someone from group 3?
This is Naikiki. So I think that, that we discussed a number of different challenges, and I kind of just summarized them, and team, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but community engagement, scalability, and access to resources were, I guess, some of the big problems that stood out. And then we kind of drilled down on that, meaning identifying things like assessments to determine the level of students. There were some suggestions such as embedding assessments into the material so that students can assess themselves. There's assessment or continuous improvement along the way. There was also a challenge around just access to resources like things like cell phones and teaching parents how to use tools such as WhatsApp. And so then as a solution, we didn't really get to talk about this, but I was thinking about a solution just, for example, to the problem of cell phones. So it could be something like partnering with industry. So various organizations, for example, like just say energy, oil and gas. I know that I have some people that work in that industry in the technology departments, and they throw away massive amounts of cell phones, laptops, like every month. And so it might be a way to partner with them to have them donate those to give to those who might need them.
Thank you. This is a good start. I think our goal was to try and just, again, list some of the needs and hopefully having each of you learning from one another and identifying some common needs and then brainstorming some potential solutions based on your own experience or other partners that you know of. We've heard some technology companies, their names that maybe we can go to. And so we are going to clean this up in a sense, try and refine it a little bit. If you have more ideas over the weekend, because it's fresh on your mind and can even get them into the spreadsheet by Monday, that would be really helpful. And then Ruth and I are going to debrief because we hope that you're finding that even the conversation itself is meaningful to you. And then we are going to refine and try and assess 1 or 2 of these that we could potentially put into some form of a grant request, and may go to you, some of you, for specific insights and help. And so, Ruth, I don't know if you had any closing comments. Again, we wish we had 3 hours with you because we believe the brainstorming is just starting, but please do add to this over the weekend.
No, just very grateful that everybody could take the Saturday to invest time into issues. There's a lot of issues out in the world, and I'm grateful that you're interested in finding solutions. What does Dr. Hamilton tells me? We can't find a solution, but we will try to make a difference, like modify, find something that will impact and make meaningful impact. Right, that's the word, meaningful impact. So our goal is to make meaningful impact, not eradicate problems. If we can start that way, then it doesn't become too daunting. So as we look into the future, my hope is that we should just pick little bites and make an impact wherever we can. I agree with everything Jenna said. We will try to be as transparent as possible, and we will most likely come back to most of you, because we believe that we are all going to do this together. No one of us can solve this problem. We're in this together, and I'm happy that we are really committed to it. Thank you again so very much for joining this evening, or afternoon for some of you, morning for some of us. And we look forward to next time. We don't know yet whether it will be November or December, but we are hoping soon we'll have another one to keep talking. But we'll send out emails, we'll send out surveys, we'll brainstorm, and then reach out to you again. Jen?
That's all.
All right. Well, thank you again, and see you next time. And let's stay in touch via email.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ruth, I just want to follow up with something with Archimedes, not part of the meeting.
Okay.
Something that came up in a meeting in our group last time. Yeah, but Archimedes, I just wanted to find out, I guess the meeting is over, but I just want to ask him
Yes,
this.
if anybody wants to leave, they can leave. But if you want to stay and hear out Mary, that's fine too. We don't have to go.
You mentioned something about a WhatsApp, a tool that we're using for WhatsApp for students to access, for teachers to send work to students. And I remember you mentioning something that didn't require internet. That was in the very first meeting that we had. Just say something about that again. There was something that you said you were working on, or you had worked on, and it was either a tool that was using WhatsApp or something that didn't require internet.
Is Dr. E still in the house? Okay. Yes.
Archimedes?
Do you remember, Dr. E, maybe you could help Archimedes here. Do you remember I think it's like a framework where you could post programs without necessarily
Internet?
having access to it? Mm-hmm.
Yes, something where you didn't need internet.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I don't. I don't.
Okay, Mary, what we could do
understand.
is I could help find that information and give it to you later.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'm just looking for information on that. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Ruth. I'd appreciate. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And Ruth, you or Mary is asking about the more information about the training in new methodologies in blended learning.
No, it's not training. It's a
device, I think.
What do we even call that?
Something that doesn't need internet, but
where you can run programs without access to internet.
Yes.
Our program we use to access internet?
Without internet.
Without internet, yeah.
Okay, without internet. In the last forum, we talk about the use on antennas for large areas. In Brazil, we use the antennas for spread the internet signal on the interior areas, and we use these technologies for the find the animals but the bandwidth is very large. Then we can use for transfer videos, and the specific technology we use is a Ubiquiti nanostation. I can send on chat.
Okay. Maybe, yeah, you can send on the chat, and then, yeah, I could copy that and just, yeah. Thank you.
We solve a translation problem. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sorry for making
No, this
everybody.
is good. This is good information, Mary. Don't be sorry.
Oh, sorry, but I available for respond by mail and total and fully available for yours talk about these technologies. And
Can I put my email in the chat?
Okay. Really.
Can you put my email in the chat?
Arquimedes, você não quer passar o vídeo para que todos possam ver? Ele é rapidinho, não dá 30 segundos.
Okay. I can show a little video about the camera, IP camera we use on classrooms on Brazil. We adapted this camera for the situation on the professor or the students. We can on same site. Then if a student is needed at home for a pandemic situation, or the teacher needs at home, we use this camera in both situations, and the students can make the classes on the classroom on site. Then we can blend the on-site and remote.
Archimedes, is it possible for you to send me that information? We could also put it in the Facebook group, and I could also put it in the email. When I send out the general email, I could put this information about the video and the other thing that Mary is asking. That way it goes to everybody.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you, John, for the information. I've seen the training that you're doing.
Thank you.
John, is John still there? John, do you want to
John is still
share with all of us? Yes, John is doing some really great work, and I really wanted him to share with those with us. If nobody's in a rush, John, can you just share?
Small one, yes. I think as at semester, when the COVID came and teachers were now not around to be trained, because we normally do, we are a center that does in-servicing of maths and science teachers at secondary level and also at primary level. So when the pandemic hit and schools were closed, we thought very fast, and the administration decided that we convert the modules that do physically with our trainers, we converted them into online material. And fortunately, we were using Google Classroom. Fortunately, the Google Classroom idea at Semastea came last year when I was invited to San Diego Museum to visit there for 3 weeks. I was using Google Classroom. One of the technicians was assisting me to do my assignments on this. So the ICT department wanted to do something on ICT and to reach teachers. He very quickly brought this idea to the ICT department, and they borrowed it and they took it ahead. It is what we are now using because it is fantastic. And we have now trained, we trained first in the whole republic, that is Kenya. We do train maths and science teachers. as Semastea Center for Mathematics, Science and Technology Education in Africa, based in Karen. So we trained first about 1,100 county trainers. We have 47 counties. So each and every county have a number of trainers in maths, physics, chemistry, and mathematics. And each of the department has 4 members. So they are normally about, depending on the inset centers that we have. Some of our secondary schools, when Semastea was initiated, were selected as inset center for Semastea activities. So these centers are very critical for us, and we use them. When we have the physical meets during holidays, normally that is August and April, we use these schools as our inset centers. And the principals of this school, we call them inset center principals. So they really assist us. In other words, as far as infrastructure and institutionalization of the system, that is in place, and there's no question. So when we trained these county trainers, through using Google, then navigating, forming Google Classroom in maths, physics, chemistry, and we monitored them. This took us about 8 good weeks. After 8 weeks, we were now strategizing on how to reach the other teachers. So we empowered them to go to their various counties and again choose teachers, because it is normally experiential. We were now training teachers of teaching experience of 0 to 5 and 7 years to 11 years. So when we took them through this, I've done it so well. And fortunately, one of the organizations called E-Kitabu, Kitabu means a book, and it is to do with E, so that is issues on online. So they came, when they realized we were doing this, they were so interested. And they offered quite some handsome rewards and created some competition. So our national trainers, the idea is to make them compete so that the teacher who makes the best Google Classroom with a lot of teaching material in it, and they can actually teach. And at this point, this week, they were actually now going directly to their learners to start teaching them online. And yesterday I had 2 meetings for principals. In Semastea, I am the liaison officer for 2 counties. That is Laikipia in Central, and also in West I have Vihiga. So those are my counties where I stand in on behalf of the director of Semastea to promote all the activities of the region. So I had 2 meetings, and I was meeting and sensitizing principals whose teachers we trained for the last 3 weeks. So we want to buy them in, and we want to support them. We were funding them to get bundles. We were also funding them to get airtime so that the program could run since it is online. But we had also challenges. One, of connectivity. That is an issue. Another issue was the bundles. Some teachers were saying, oh no, the bundles are too little for us and all that. Others, because we arranged it that to use Google Classrooms, because now we are in Google Suite as an organization. So it is very easy for us to use that. Now, some of the emails, some of the challenges, the emails were not working. Some of the people who had been registered, we could also not find them, all right, generally, but on a very low number, So generally, I think it is picking up well. And yesterday when we met the principal, the idea is that we are selling them that idea to enable them now reach even a bigger population. Some of the principals and some of the quality officers down at the county level are actually saying they want to do this even beyond maths and science. They want to do it within the school. Then those whose teachers have been trained to also bring in the school from the surrounding area. And I think this will pick very well. And we're telling them now, they buy in also parents when they're creating or they want to meet the learners or the students. they must involve the parents, the issues of safety of learners. So we are looking at all these issues, and I think it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. I think what I could share now, and we see how we move.
Yes.
As I'm talking now, the idea also is to try and find who is the winner. The winner at national level will get a brand new Savvy laptop and
Nice.
and 100,000 Kenyan shillings. That's some money for the teacher. The second person nationally will get 75,000 Kenyan shillings. Then number 3 will get 50,000, of course, plus a certificate. So we have given a motivation to also encourage the teachers, and this is very interesting. Just another story, we encourage them that since this looks new to many people, and it's like, people like saying the new norm, it's the new direction education is taking, you never know what happens. One of my supervisors told me there is somebody who wanted in Middle East, some people who can teach online, and he forwarded my name. So when my name was forwarded, I tried and applied. When I applied, I was asked to make a video of 15 to 20 minutes. And I said, now I'm not in the classroom, but I have very good teachers who are teaching and interacting with the learners directly. So I proposed for them some very good teachers I met online. And one of the teachers actually has been taken. I think today he was meeting the HR because he sent a wonderful lesson online, and it was just fantastic. He sent me that, and I was really impressed. So these things can work. Thank you very much for listening and taking your time.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's encouraging.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Asante sana. Asante sana is thank you very much.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
If you have a link to that, John, to a sample of your training, or maybe the costs involved with getting your training to more people, can you send that to us?
Fine, I'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
We can share. We can share. Thank you.
We like sharing.
No, sharing is the main thing. Sharing is important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey, people, thank you so much. Thank you. Have a good day for those who meet this morning. For those who meet evening, have a good evening and a good weekend. And we meet again. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mary.
All right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So is the committee the one remaining?
What was that?
Ruth and I just wait until everyone is gone.
Yeah, we wait to make sure that we wave everybody before we disappear. We don't want to leave anybody sitting by themselves, you know.
That is true. So how was the meeting generally?
Good. Good. It was good. Yeah, it was good. I always forget to record, so I didn't remember to record until later. So we're not going to have a really good recording. But we didn't do much though in the beginning.
Okay. No, I think it's more, we have, I will send you the link. Did I send you the link to the spreadsheet?
No, he doesn't have it.
No, I think when he cut on.
Yes, I think in the chat, is it?
Yes, did you get that link?
Yes.
Yeah, just put your own things in there, your own challenges in there. But we really want to keep learning more about what you're doing.
I'll resend it to you, John.
We are doing quite a lot. In fact, we also had, we normally are trained by Israel and they sponsor. Sometimes people used to go there to study 1 or 2 things, maybe 5 weeks or something like that. So
Israel, you said?
Israel.
Who is that funded by? By the government themselves?
Yes, partly by the government, yes. Okay. So we work in collaboration. So they trained a few who joined that training online. And then these people now trained as TAN, and it was fantastic because we operate with the whole of Africa as SMASE Africa, and we can reach many countries. We had about 18 countries in this online training, and at the end of it, we would meet on Thursdays afternoon, and then share a few things. They call it entrepreneurship in education. And it was very, 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 very interesting. Very interesting. So
What did you say that umbrella network is? Mercy or
our semester Center
right?
for Mathematics, Science, and Technology Education in Africa. And Professor Eric Hampton has come to visit us there quite a number of times. He's very familiar with this and also what we do. So it's very interesting the way we work, and because even now World Bank is offering some training to teachers, but we are the main people. It was to be done by the Teacher Service Commission, but in reality it's a master running because we are well versed in issues of teacher training. Because I've been there, most of us have been there since 2003, training teachers here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody can train better than us. That is a fact.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's good to be confident in what you do. Yeah.
That is for sure. Mm. We have gained a lot of experience, and with time we are doing very well. Many institutions recognize us for that. Very true, yes. In fact, the World Bank said if semester is not training, then we are not running our school-based teacher support system. We are not doing it. Semester must be in it. And they're really banking on us.
That's
because
good.
Now we started online, now they have roped us in to also train and bring other people online. So they are using our ideas.
Very good.
That's great.